For Jaden, master of huge comebacks, a new elemental hero contact fusion that can refill your hand, negate a card effect until the end of the turn, and banish everything on the field.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Spell card to help support this new elemental hero will be included in an upcoming product. What the heck? Now, if you guys are like me, when you guys first heard about this announcement back in April, you were like, yes, more masked hero support. And then when you really read it again, like, oh, it's okay, it's hero and Spacian support. So with that being said, I think Konami is definitely trying to fix the issue with heroes as a whole, because the deck right now is only playing one way competitively, and it's Dark Law. So that all that being said, this video is going to be talking about masked heroes and Spacians and what I expect from them for the future to come. So without further ado, let's begin. Starting out by saying, let's hit the masked heroes portion of this video. Masked heroes as a deck was a deck that always was around as soon as the hero structure deck dropped back in 2015. The effect of Masked Hero Dark Law pretty much reads, while he's on the board, he banishes all the cards that goes to the graveyard on your opponent's tip. And then when your opponent with a search card by a card effect, you can eat a card out your opponent's hand. During the time of his release, decks like Necros was reigning supreme, and a lot of decks relied heavily on searching, making Masked Heroes the perfect counter deck for the meta. You even had people still running decks like the Fire Fist deck, searching their deck with things like Tenki, and Dark Law was a little bit too much for them to handle, because previous to Dark Law, cards like Banisher or Radiance used to just lock out your opponent's board and hit your opponent with the GG no re. And then when Dark Law came around, decks like Masked Heroes as pure versions without Elemental Hero Stratos brought out Dark Law via a hero lives, set on them with some back row, and 9 times out of 10 you completely won the game unless your opponent had a lucky Raigeki and Dark Hole. Now this is prior to the kaijus and everything. There wasn't a kaiju for that back then, but the kaijus eventually came out to make everyone's life a living headache. So heroes always been a Masked Heroes always been a solid deck. And then moving forward, as things like kaijus came out, the deck started to lose its power, and as things like more field disruption came out, the deck started to lose its power. So every hero player knew, especially if you're in the TCG, the deck had major flaws of if it gets board wiped like Dark Hole Raigeki, you pretty much lose, and or if you just get kaiju, you lose. There was a reason why I did so well my hero deck back in 2015 and almost topped nationals. Just due to tiebreakers, it was crappy, but I comboed my build with the Durandal card, and he pretty much allowed me to stop the first turn Dark Hole and Raigeki. Now, heroes outside of them just losing to like Dark Hole and Raigeki and the basic build wise, they were way too linear. Linear meaning that the deck was pretty much straightforward. You play your Dark Law, you sit in your Dark Law. Some people call it a helmet. I didn't really call it a helmet, reason being, if you were a really skilled Masked Hero player, you knew prior to Master Rule 4, because Master Rule 4 completely crippled the deck. Prior to Master Rule 4, you can do a lot of heavy XYZ plays. In the OCG, for example, when they did have Stratos, they were doing Bobaman turbo builds where you go Stratos, Bobaman, ninjas, and all kind of crazy stuff. And prior to Dark Law coming out, with XYZ's been a thing, Heroes did that, and Hero Beat was a deck was phenomenal, topping a lot of events. And then moving forward, we also had totally awesome heroes that did this thing as well. Now, Spacians is a card. A lot of the Spacians, at least back when I was growing up, weren't used that much in a competitive scene. I remember Spacian Dark Panther, the one that can copy monster effects. He was used a little bit in the Teledad era because you could normal summon him, copy the effect of a Dark Arm Dragon effect, and use that effect to pop a Dark Arm Dragon. It was really good for rogue decks and the mirror match if you just wanted an extra Dark Arm and had a card out, because Dark Arm wasn't a quick effect where you can pop your opponent's cards on their turn, etc. So Spacians overall, they weren't really that good. I even remember some decks tacking here and there Air Hummingbird, the one where you normal summon him and you gain 500 life points for each card in your opponent's hand. So people play with them, but they really noticed the inconsistencies of the deck, despite them having a draw card like Convert Contact. which allows you to send a Neo Spacian from your hand to the graveyard and someone from your deck to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. Despite them having all of that, the deck wasn't powerful enough and their fusions weren't powerful enough to just get them there. You know, decks like Monarchs, decks like Dark Karma Dragon, decks like all of that stuff is just too powerful for the time. But moving forward with this new Neo Spacian card that's supposed to just negate stuff on the field, the Neo Spacian / hero deck getting a new fusion spell, I predict this deck is going to be really powerful, and I have high hopes for the deck. I mean, because think about it. Dark Law's main objective was to protect himself, sit on his butt with some back row, and go GG no re, right? So since the Dark Law deck was based on that, and the new Neo Spacian hero is going to be based on, you know, bring him out via contact fusion, which is awesome, meaning you don't really need a fusion spell to bring him out. You can go ahead and just protect your Dark Law and GG no re. And we do have some solid Neo Spacian cards currently right now in our meta that we can use to make the contact fusion very good. A great example of that is Neo Spacian Dolphin, the one that's been used in the tournament scene in the Galki deck. He can look in your opponent's hand, eat the hand traps, and go off. So if you're scared of your opponent Ash Blossom in your play, you got Dolphin for that. And then we also have Grand Mode, so when your opponent tries to bring out big beefy monsters, Grand Mode can say bounce back to the hand, or if you can just put Grand Mode on the field and pass, like a lot of players used to do back in the day, he can usually stall you for a turn, and you can go on your turn, play a hero monster, and start setting your combos for plays. I mean, the deck can definitely do some sick combos, especially with cards like the hero guy that sends one to the graveyard, Vion. You can send your Destiny Hero Militias to the graveyard, banish your Militias, make a Link monster. You can usually 9 times out of 10 you're gonna make your Noble Knight ISO'd, and then you probably bring out another Militias and just go off from there. Hopefully bring out a Neo Spacian in some way. I mean, the sky's the limit with this deck's potential, but I think it does have a lot of potential moving forward for the future formats, because masked heroes with a negate, really guys, that's definitely something that we've all been looking forward to. I mean, just think about the history of the deck. The deck has always been for the past 3 years, it's just been sitting on Dark Claw and Pass, Dark Claw and Pass. And now that I think about it, these new Neo Spacian support, the potential fusion that's going to come out soon, even though we don't have its effect just yet, it fixes one of the bigger also underlying issues of the deck. Because of course you want to make Dark Claw go on the field, protect the board with its supportive back row and its protection, and you're good to go, right? And then we also have things like honestly Neos to protect Dark Claw as well, because the hero deck has a lot of plays taking concepts from decks like Black Wings. But the underlying issue the hero deck had was it was all Dark Claw and it was too linear. So outside of the protection tip that I mentioned earlier in this video, we get another factor of maybe this new Neo Spacian might have an effect that's just not about relying on Dark Claw. I mean, just negating cards in general is powerful on its own, especially if it has a big beefy attack power like a 3k beater or 4k beater, or God forbid a 5k beater. I mean, the sky's the limits with this hero stuff. So I'm just pretty excited to see what they're gonna give us in this new Hero 10. I'm just reading that effect one more time, or the potential effect: negate a card affecting to the end phase of the turn and banish everything on the field. So is this gonna be like an Exoton night where you go negate a card, negate, banish? Like, is gonna have a cost? I mean, I need some answers from Konami, and Konami definitely need to provide us to those. But yeah, man, banishing everything on the field, definitely awesome. And who knows, maybe heroes might not rely on Dark Claw. Maybe Dark Claw would just be a, if you can make it, you can make it type of thing. But it'd be one of those things where if you can't beat Dark Claw, you're gonna lose. But if you beat Dark Claw, now you gotta worry about this card. So with all that being said, man, post your thoughts and opinions about this new hero support in the comment section down below. Like I said, this is already old information, but I think, you know, just discussing the possibilities of masked heroes and Neo Spacians, I think it's just something interesting to talk about, because masked heroes was already a powerful deck, and Neo Spacians was already a weaker deck, but it had a lot of potential, and Konami definitely tried to push it back in the day by giving it all the support it had. It just didn't cut the meta from back in the day, but all those amazing support cards like the draw cards and Neo Spacians being decent on their own, I can definitely see them putting a dent in today's meta. So yeah, man, once again, this is InnovationYGO bringing you guys another Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. I'm signing out. Let's get 200 likes. Peace.